Hello, everyone. My name is Shakayla Alvarenga, and I'm the Director of Public Programs here at the Mob Museum. Thank you for continuing to watch our Community Safety Forum virtual series. Our next topic is about COVID-19 and African Americans. A growing body of research shows this pandemic is devastating Black communities all across our country. We found out why city officials in North Las Vegas stepped in.
Nothing was a surprise for me. I mean, when I think about the work that the Clark County Black Caucus has been doing since we were created back in 2007, 2008, it's not a surprise. These are the things that we have been talking about, that we have been screaming about, that Black folks are disproportionately affected when it comes to things negative. So whether it's, like I said, the disparities in education, the disparities in employment, the disparities in housing, all of these things disproportionately affect the Black community. So I was already angry.
The health district would put out a report to show the numbers, and it was just a color-coded map was the first thing that I saw. And I saw a lot of big red splotches on the map, and I'm like, that's North Las Vegas and 89030, 89032. Those are my zip codes. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what's going on here? And so then that's when the question was raised at why is this happening in this particular area and what's going on? And then I just wanted to know what was the reason. Was it because they weren't being tested, they weren't being offered testing, or are African Americans not receiving adequate health care, or they don't have access to the health care options that they should have, or are they just not going to the doctor? Those kind of questions are what I needed answers to.
Why, Lisa, do you think there has been a disproportionate burden of illness and death among the Black community?
Honestly, I think what we're seeing with the deaths and the illness among the Black community is nothing more than a symptom of a greater problem. And that problem has been, I hate to put it in this context of racism, but let's talk about discrimination. Let's talk about poverty. And let's talk about underemployment and some of those things. So these are historical things that have been affecting the African American community for decades in this country. And so when we get at something like a coronavirus or COVID-19, because those things are in place, because we've seen historic disparities in education, disparities in employment, we tend to be affected more. Black folks are underemployed. Black people tend to be at the bottom of almost every issue. Let's talk about housing. So we tend to be in some of the poorest communities. We tend to be in communities that don't have access to, say, public transportation, or don't have access to healthy foods. And so when you put all of those things together, what you get is Black people being affected disproportionately by illnesses and sicknesses, and of course this pandemic that we're seeing.
Our main goal was to make sure that those that wanted to get tests, there was a test available to them. So by us setting up various testing sites and opening it up, first of all, we opened it up to our African American seniors, and then we opened it up to North Las Vegas constituents, still targeting on the African American community. So those that wanted to get tested could get tested, and then making sure that they had their basic necessities, they had food, they had water, they had shelter.
What can you do? We're talking about things like exercising on a regular basis. We're talking about things like having access to healthier foods, just things that you can do to take charge of your own health and take charge of your own family's health and make sure that you are in the best shape that you can be in. And so though the anger, yeah, it's absolutely there. It's absolutely there. And I think it's warranted. I think if we're not angry, we don't see action. One of the greatest things that we've been able to do is, as relates to community, is provide resources and provide access to information. But we've also been able to talk to folks who are the leaders in our community, the elected officials, our governors, our assembly persons, our other elected officials, and talk about what are some of the things that can be put in place. So filling the role of advocacy that the Black Caucus has become known for, and being just the go-between our community and our elected officials who are enacting policy, and letting them know this is what's happening in our communities, this is what people are saying, this is what we feel like we need, and helping not only our community, but also our elected officials kind of navigate those waters, because sometimes people just don't know. And unless you have an organization like the Clark County Black Caucus, or say the NAACP or some other organizations that are the eyes and ears of the community, and they're the ones that are passing that information on to our policymakers, they won't know.
I know we have seniors in the community in Sun City, Aliante, that want testing to come their way. So we are currently working on that. And then as we are slowly reopening, we are just making sure that we're still following all the CDC and the state guidelines, keeping our employees here and our customers that come into City Hall, doing all the safety protocols that we can put in place, making sure that our employees are wearing masks, the outside public, they're wearing masks when they come into the building, just so that we're protecting each other and we're not going to participate in spreading the virus at all.
Thank you for watching, and we'll see you at the Mob Museum soon.